Welcome back to the channel for some more recent Star Citizen news highlights. All systems online. Well, a slight change in format this week, so let's get to some of the news. 3.2 has now gone to the Evocati, and obviously it will be with the Evocati for a few weeks, I guess, and then go to the wider PTU, and obviously more of us can take a look. Now let's get some of the bad news, disappointing news out of the way first, but probably not totally surprising. Now, the FPS AI combat will not make it into 3.2. It's just not ready for the Tier 0 implementation, and I'm afraid that has slipped to 3.3. Has also bind culling. Now, this is the system which will hopefully improve network performance and make the game playable at a better frame rate for all of us. Now, this does go hand in hand with the object container system, and obviously this has now slipped to later in the year, so a little bit disappointing there, but not totally unexpected. Now, mining is obviously the core component of 3.2, and that will make it in its Tier 0 implementation, and that means that mining will only be done down on the moons in the Stanton system. Now, obviously mining of asteroids will come at a later date, so some slightly disappointing news there, but obviously probably not totally unexpected. Well, this week's Aroundiverse was hosted by Sandy Gardner with Sean Tracy, and there was the usual update on what the studios have been working on recently from that man with that great hair, Ricky Jutley. Well, first up, Ricky showed us a work which is ongoing on one of the new mission givers, La Taglia.
Unfortunately, things are a bit slow right now. I'll keep you in mind if anything turns up, though.
Now, we saw some work being done on the animation for the boom arm on the Prospector, and I believe for 3.2 the saddlebags on the Prospector won't be usable, but you will get additional storage for your mineable minerals. And the laser is a placeholder, but here's some work in progress for mining. They've been improving the UI visuals. Now, the devs have been working on a system for actual placement of minerals or mineable assets on the procedurally generated moons, and here you can see the tools they're using to actually place those assets. Ricky told us that improvements have been made to the AI FPS combat. Here we see a scenario where the AI are fighting in a wrecked Starfarer, but obviously this wasn't quite good enough to make it into 3.2. However, probably due to the lack of bind culling and maybe object container streaming, it may be best to actually get those working before you put combat AI FPS into the game. As I said earlier, it was disappointing, but well, it will come just at a later date. Here's some ongoing balancing work they're doing on the new Scramble race type which will be coming into the game, and this will be a mixture of racing and combat. Oh, this looks very interesting. Now, they've been continuing to work on the Vandal Blade, and here they're focusing on the landing gear animation, and work is ongoing on the Anvil Hurricane, and they've been focusing on the landing gear as well for that. And here's work ongoing on the Mustang rework and the Constellation Phoenix, and as you can see, it's very nice inside, plenty of room for a large space party. Now, they've been working on signage for some of the procedurally generated space stations coming up, and here's the marker buoy which will be used in the racing we saw earlier. Here's another look at some rest stop space stations, and they're continuing to refine these procedurally generated space stations, and looking very nice. And looking even nicer is this large hangar, and this will be where you fly your ship out of. And of course, we can't go without having a look at Hurston and the different biodomes on that planet. This is a savanna type, and looking very nice. Like to see some animals in the future, and this one is a tundra. Looks like a big volcano. Hope it doesn't explode. Maybe that could be a feature for the future. And this is the strip mining which has been done on Hurston, and obviously been mined out, but there may be still some resources for us to mine. Now they're continuing to work on the procedurally generated moons and planets, and they've been actually adding different coloured rocks to the system. The special feature in Aroundiverse this week was all about 2 new weapons coming into the game. First up, we saw the Genomite F55 LMG. Now this was described as from a bit of a more luxury manufacture, and this weapon actually features a large Gatling type barrel, and obviously it's ballistic, and because the rate of fire is really fast, they decided that they would stick with iron sights for this weapon, as it's more designed to be up close and personal in maybe a corridor on some distant space station. Now next up we saw the Claes and Werner Democo. Now this is a laser weapon, and obviously it has a large battery to actually give it the energy to fire, and this weapon is more suited to be used down on the surface of a moon or planet. Developers describe this more as a military grade weapon. Now obviously for now we'll just be shooting other players, and we'll have to wait until we can shoot some AI in the future. Well, that's it for this week. It's been a little bit of a rough week for Star Citizen, with things being pushed back to 3.3, and of course a few other things on YouTube which we won't go into here. But of course ultimately the perception of Star Citizen from outside the community will only change when well, there's more of a game. And of course we do know that progress is being made, but it's really still quite a long way down the road until we get anywhere near a completed game. But that is one of the downsides of open development, unlike what we're seeing at E3 at the moment, which I'm really enjoying, where things are usually only revealed in more or less their entirety when the games are maybe 6 months out from being released. But that is the price you pay for following this game so closely because of its open style of development. You're going to have some ups and downs and some in-betweens along the way. But everyone out there is entitled to their opinion, whether you're against Star Citizen, you're for it, or maybe you're a bit in the middle. So only the future will tell how the game will turn out. But I'm pretty positive with what I've seen certainly this year that progress is being steadily made, and of course we'd all like it quicker, but that is game development. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. So hope you enjoyed the video, and well, my prediction for the summer is England to win the World Cup. Well, maybe that's going to be wrong. Bye for now.